Hello. You know what it is? I want to ask people if they're mad at me. I want to ask them if they're annoyed with me. But, whoa. I just got so scared thinking, what if it's public? I'm not saying anything. Yeah, I want to ask them if they're mad at me. So that they can be like, no, I'm not. Like a validation kind of thing where it's like, no one's mad at you. But actually, I have to let them be. Even though hypothetically no one's mad at me and that's true, I have to actually feel safe in the knowing that someone could be. And I not only that, I have to allow them to be, because if I think that someone's mad at me, I want to fix it. I actually want to fix everything. But the whole point is to allow it. The whole point is to open my hands and to give them the control back of their own, the control and the authority back in their own lives that I've, unbeknownst to myself even, that I've taken from them. That I don't need to, and I don't want to control things anymore, and I want to surrender. You know, this past recent while, but also like on weekends maybe, but also my whole life, I have my whole life, more so obviously than now. My whole life I've tried to run towards something or run from something where I'm like almost ready to run all the time, and I'm looking for stimulation, I'm looking for comfort, for safety outside of me. Obviously, I didn't know how to build that within myself then. And I'm not really like hating on her or blaming her, but that was a pattern, right? And now that I'm trying to live in a different way, I'm so aware that I was running, even though I didn't think I was at the time, I think. And now today's Friday. My parents were going to come visit, and they didn't because it's snowing. So now it just feels like endless time. You know when like something solid is removed and eternity stretches on. That's what it feels like. Even though had we not made the plans, and this has been true of me, and I've known this about myself for a long time. Had I not made any plans, I would have been okay. But if a plan is made and then it's removed, it's like I'm floating in space. I'm adrift. Why? And it's because once that solid thing is placed there, I latch onto it as the thing that I'm running towards or running, yeah, that I'm holding on to. It becomes my support and anchor. But then once it's removed, I'm adrift again. But it's like when nothing is there, I'm so okay. Meaning I don't really need a support and anchor. It might be like a habit, it might be like a default, right? That I just go to do that. I want to run towards something. Well, I want to run from my life. I'm always in this mode of like getting up out of my chair, but I want to live now. I want to build the skill of sitting in the chair fully, completely, letting the chair support me. I'm seated. I'm not inching forward. I'm not ready to go. I'm not putting my shoes on. And so when I'm so seated in my life, I wake up seated. And there's this like peace. Right now, I don't consistently have that. I have that on days when I have things planned or when I know what I'll be doing. But see, that's again about the certainty and the knowing. But if I want to live in the unknown, if I want to be surprised, if I want to know what exists in the darkness, what exists in the uncertainty, I have to build the skill of enjoying my time there. Otherwise, I'm going to wake up anxious every day. And so the weekend is here, and I want to make plans. And I think I probably could. I just feel like I shouldn't. Like, there are plans that I make where I'm like, I want to. It's intentional. And there are plans that I make when there's an empty slot. Creativity lives in the emptiness. The weekend is here and I am seated. I will live my life seated. I am seated intentionally, firmly in the center of my life. My life will grow around me as I remain seated in the center of it. I will not be running away from it and then visiting it once in a while and going, oh, what a mess. I left it as a mess. I'm not going to be taking vacations from my life to come back to it and being upset at how dirty it is. No, my life will grow around me like this. That's on control and releasing it. Could go on about releasing control. There are other defaults that I live by. I think I talked about this a little bit earlier, where I want to be special. I want to be the one that you love. Even though, like, do I have, well, I do love in such a devotional way that people can really trust that I have a one that I love, and I love you in a very different way, in an intense way, whatever. But I want to be special, okay? In anything that I think, whether in imagining a man who loves me and whether in imagining a man who isn't with me. Someone who wants to be with me and someone who doesn't, both of those men in my mind have to love me. Like, even in the man who doesn't want to be with me, it's like I have to be like, I don't have to, obviously, but it's a default thought where I'm like, oh, but when he meets someone else, he'll understand who I was. And I guess, like, in some way I'm like, no, he can, like, live his own life with her, whatever. But he'll realize that I was still special in some way. Not even yearning for me, not pining for me, not anything like that, but just I want them to see who I was, I guess. But here's the thing is that I know I'm special, but so is everyone else, and I really do believe that everyone's unique, right? So this default thought that I've had forever because of rom-coms probably can and should be challenged because it's actually not aligned with every other belief that I have. And sometimes I do imagine the yearning and the pining, and that has to be challenged because actually, if I really, like, realistically with my own two eyes look at this thought and go, okay, someone's pining for you, you want that? It makes me so uncomfortable, really, really realistically, because I don't want someone to be in pain. Because if they're pining, there's only two scenarios. One is which I want them to, and second is I don't want them. If I don't want them, I don't want them to be in pain. If I want them, then I want the pining to end because I want them to. So the yearning and the pining I don't want. I don't want anyone to long for anything because I don't think you can live a life creatively, openly, fully, expressively if you're in a state of pining and yearning and longing. I know because I was, and I was not being creative. Like, okay, yeah, you can make art through that, but it's not your fullest level of being. You're not being your fullest self in that, obviously. Okay, not obviously. For me. So I don't really want that in someone else either, but but yeah, like, I'd be upset and jealous if, like, people I've loved and still love because I never stop loving were with someone else. Like I'd have to process that. And I want to work with that thought because that's just really funny to me. Because I'm always like, I want someone who's not jealous. Of course I do. I want a man, I want a partner who understands love the way that I do, where I love everyone and everything, okay? If that's true, and because I'm like, oh, I'm a girl's girl. But if I'm secretly imagining every man I've ever loved to like love me or find me special in some way, that's not me being a girl's girl. But see, this thought that like someone that's been in my life can go and be with someone else and they build their lives together. And I'm not part of it. Because why should I have? That's literally crazy. Because why would I be part of it? It's so unfamiliar to me. It's like I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. What is this? Whose thought is this? Throw it out. Hold on. So yeah, I'm working on that. And then if like someone finds someone else funnier or something, or they behave differently in a more loving way towards someone else, I'm so rejected. Isn't that also crazy? Which I've like not really seen with my eyes like fully, or I've like not addressed it. I've not challenged this thought. It's been like lurking underneath other thoughts, but I've reached it. And now I'm seeing how crazy that is. Of course, other people can be more loved than I am. Not only that, if I really believe that love is the fabric of time and space, if I really believe that there is no separation, if I really believe that we are all one, that we are all unique, and so we are all collective, if someone is being loved, that means I am also being loved in that act. But for me to like see that someone laughed harder at someone else's joke and not mine, I'm like, but I'm way funnier. But it's like, maybe I'm not to that person. Maybe I'll be funny to someone else, and maybe I'll be loved by someone else, and maybe I'll be special to someone else. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Isn't that jealousy? It is. It's envy. And I'm always like, people are jealous. I'm like above that or something. Or I'm like, the emotion of jealousy makes me uncomfortable. But here I am being jealous this whole time. Yeah, I just thought it was funny that I caught that in myself. feel weird and awkward because it was hard for me to say those things. Because it was hard for me to look at them. These are the things that are at the bottom. But they're funny. I can't believe this is true. They're funny. I thought I was being brave, by the way. This is different. This is something else. I thought I was being brave in so many different things. And I'm like, whoa, I'm being so brave. And then my friends asked to see my art because they were genuinely interested. And I was like, no. Why did I say no? If like all I ever want is to be seen, especially now, if I'm like, that's all I'm working towards. Like, I was like, oh, no. And it was like more than once. It was a knee-jerk reaction, but more than once I was like, no, you can't. Because I was afraid, obviously, of what it was like the safest setting too. I can't imagine a world in which they would have trashed it, even if they hated it. Like, I just can't imagine. They wouldn't have. It's not that they would have even lied. It's that it wouldn't occur to them to hate it because it's something I made. But they didn't even, they liked it. With the little that they saw, they liked it. And then they were like, let us see it. And I was like, no. And then I realized I have to be way braver. I have to be, like, I can't imagine standing there and showing people my art. But, like, oh, I thought I wanted to be seen, like, look at my face. But being seen is way more than that. Well, I guess I've been brave and, like, look at my face because I didn't even do that before. So I'll get there. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not being harsh on myself. But these are things that I just saw in the span of an hour. I saw so many things last night in myself. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm always excited when I see new things. Not to fix myself, but because it's really fun to uncover. It's really fun to work with different parts of myself, and then when they're like safe enough to talk to me, I feel more seated in my life, and I feel like I know myself more. Like this embodiment of surrender couldn't have come sooner. You know, I always knew of surrender as a concept very early on, and I thought I was doing it, but this total embodiment of like me practicing it in real time, it's so fun to do. Like, it's hard, but so rewarding. Uh, and I just feel so connected to everything. I feel so much more connected when I let go. And I've also realized the more I'm letting go now, it's not a lot yet, but the more I practice it, the more I see how much I've actually been holding on, where I'm like, oh, I've let this go and it's still in my hand. And it's because I'm still holding on in some hidden way that I didn't see before. Like, even though I think I'm like avoidant, I think I'm like distant, I'm emotionally like detached a little bit. No, I'm emotionally not detached, but physically detached, and I kind of act cool, I guess. I don't know. But so I'm like, oh, I'm so cool. I'm chill. but am I? Or like, I want, if like people hang out, I'm like, I didn't know. But like now I'm trying to be like cool. Now I'm trying to be like, I hold nothing. And so when anyone tells me anything, it's a nice and pleasant surprise, and I want to genuinely, curiously like learn about it and hear about it. And I have no stake in anything because I don't own anything. Then and the little time that I've practiced it, because it's like very new still, it's been really fun. It has like immediately worked in a way where I'm like, my curiosity is like deeper. I'm having more fun. I'm less emotionally anxious. I'm less like that thing in me that's like, love me, that thing in me that's like, choose me and invite me and do you see me, like, is a little, is less intense. She's like doing other things. I'm trying to also engage her in art so that she doesn't feel abandoned, because that's where it's coming from, and eventually that will ease up, and it's already easing up actually, because I couldn't have imagined surrendering to this degree even like a few months ago, even a month ago, where in real time something breaks my heart and I'm like, open your fist, and then I do, and then I'm like, see, now you're not holding on to anything, and I'm like, wow, okay, tell me more, tell me more. And my heartbreak is kind of transmuted into deeper connection, a fuller heart, a bigger an expansion of my heart space. And that's all I've ever dreamed of. So the weekend is here, and my hands are open.